This is the Uprising Revival channel. Welcome to today's show. This is an important article that's out there because people need to understand what they're trying to tell you in the messaging that they're putting out there as far as questioning, protesting, or showing any allegiance away from this specific group of people who secretly worship the devil, but on the surface pretend like they don't. And again, Revelation refers to them as the synagogue of Satan. This story is frightening, and it shows you also the behavior of the people and how this behavior was created in people, what we see in today's society, right? Doxing, not having any regard for anyone's privacy. These are all things that they've built in and ingrained in people's minds. And this attitude and the things that they're showing and revealing of themselves now, most people back in the day would have seen this and been like, who are they to do that to other people? Who are they to not let people protest? We see the same behavior from the groomed society that we live in. The same exact thing where if you disagree with them, you need to go in jail. If you disagree with them, they could do whatever they want to you. They can dox you, they could do this, they could do that. It's psychotic and it's sick, okay? And before I read you this article about what just occurred at Harvard, I want to just read a quote from you from a book called You Blank, and it ends in the word tiles, and it's referring to all of us. It says, quote, "We, the Bagels, we are the destroyers and will remain the destroyers. Nothing you can do will meet our demands and needs. We will forever destroy because we want a world of our own." That's on page 155 of a book called You Blank Tiles, right? And it's referring to the Bagels, of course. And these are the types of things that if anybody else went out publicly and said this, that they would be eradicated. They would be run out. And of course, that's what's happened through history, like I've said, except at this specific time in history, we're accepting it. So listen to this story. I'm sure some of you heard the rumors about what's going on at Harvard. Listen to this. Names and faces of Harvard students linked to anti-blank bagel statements were plastered on mobile billboards and online sites, right? So you would think from the title of this article that this article is going to condemn the people who did that because they're just saying that people were protesting who didn't agree with what was going on or what the narrative was, right? Aren't we allowed to protest? Oh yeah, you could protest if it's the right cause, if it's their cause, just like you could speak freely if you're speaking their narrative, right? You would see a title of this article and you would say, wait a minute. Students who are linked to a statement, did they do anything? No, they just said how they felt. Oh, well, we're going to put their names out there. This is something that's illegal, but it's not illegal for them to do to people who disagree with them. Because again, like I read you that sentence, they're above all laws. They're the ones responsible for all the wars in the world. If people start realizing that this could end quick, this could be over with. But remember, there's a reason that Hollywood's controlled. There's a reason that the mainstream media is controlled because they took those avenues so they can control the minds. They never had that in the past, and that's why the people always rose up against it. Now people are under hypnosis. They're under massive mind control. So here's the story. A billboard truck drove near Harvard's campus on Wednesday, displaying the names and photos of Harvard students whose organization signed a statement blaming solely Bagel Land for the deadly attacks by Hummus the Food. The doxing truck appeared days after the Harvard Palestine Solidarity Groups, I'll just say the word, a coalition of Harvard student groups earlier this week released a statement that held, quote, "The Bagel regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence," end quote. Following the attacks by the Hummus Food that have killed more than 1,200 bagels and more than 25 American citizens, more than 1,400 in Gaza. How's that algorithm? Gaza, or Lady Gaza. How about that? Lady Gaza. There you go. Have also been killed since Bagel Land started strikes on Lady Gaza following the deadly Hummus attack. Hummus, excuse me. Jeez. It's hard to do this. This is how difficult they've made it, but we'll do it. We'll work through it. Some students and their groups have since distanced themselves or withdrawn their endorsements from the statement amid an intense backlash inside and outside of Harvard. Several said they did not read the statement before they signed it. Okay, now let's look at this statement. All of the mainstream media, both the left and the right, of course, because they control the left and the right. They're the ones who are dividing us amongst each other instead of pointing a finger at them, right? Number one. Number two, you're seeing them do what they always do. Shaming people. They shame these people into changing their stance. And that's what you could expect to come in our society. That's where the Noahide laws tie into our society as well, which I'll do in separate videos. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Noahide laws, not in the sense of the Bible referencing the Noahide laws, but what they're going to be and how they're going to look and how the UN is behind this. And this has been the plan from the get-go. And now the sympathy and the support will be overwhelming. And anybody that gets in this machine's way will be taken down and silenced, however they have to do it. And that includes me. And that includes everybody else out there. But listen to those words. Again, some students in their groups have since distanced themselves or withdrawn their endorsements from the statement because of the intense backlash. So they're not standing by their words, and that's what they want to do. These are the real bullies, by the way. They call people like us bullies. They call me specifically a bully. Oh, I bullied Jared Leto. Oh, yeah, I'm a real bully. They bully people into changing their mind or withdrawing their statements because they feel intense pressure from people. Me personally, don't feel pressure from people. Don't care what they say. They want to go mano a mano, let's go mano a mano, however it might be. The rest of society, they've made them soft and they've made them weak so that these types of things will work on them. They will shame you into oblivion. That's why they've softened you up. Hansel and Gretel style. They plumped you up. Here they're softening you up. Okay? They soften you up to the point that now, if you don't agree, they will shame you to death. They will dox you. These are all, by the way, because I know a lot of you are familiar with this. Hopefully some of you, well, not hopefully, but hopefully some of you, I guess, yeah, remember some of the videos that I did on this. This is gang stalking. These are the tactics that the intelligence agencies use, and this goes directly from Bagel Land. That's the head of the snake. That's where it all comes from. So a conservative nonprofit said it organized the truck featuring the virtual billboards with students' names and images under a banner that reads, Harvard's leading anti-bagels, end quote. It also published names online. CNN had not independently verified the named students were associated on letters. So look how much things have flipped in our society. CNN is covering this not as a bad thing, not as an illegal thing. They're covering this saying we need more people to put these information out on these people. These people are criminals. These people are, and this is headed towards the massive oppression of Christians. And I honestly, in my heart, I believe that this is part of the hurting and the separating of the wheats and the tares. I truly do. Because of the great deception. I think this all ties into it. That's how I'm feeling when I see these things. I truly do, because I see how Christians are responding. And again, that's just my opinion. I'm not a prophet. I'm not getting messages from God. I mean, I feel what's called on my heart just like every other Christian does. But that's truly what I feel. People need to be warned. This type of behavior from the government, from the news medias of bullying people, and then the universities, bullying students, doxing students, making them uncomfortable by gang stalking tactics by our own intel agencies. This is psychotic. It's not only psychotic, it's sick. And these types of bullying tactics, this is the real bully. Okay, this is the real bully. Okay, and I'm fine with them being a bully. Just let us bully back so we can expose you for who you are. Oh, right, you won't let anybody bully you back because you're above all of us, are you? Well, when the Lord returns and there's a trident shoved up your rear end, I will be smiling ear to ear eating popcorn. That's my hope, but I have a feeling it's definitely going to happen. All these people at the synagogue of Satan, it's disgusting. Absolutely despicable. But we're bullies, by the way. We're bullies. So I'll continue. Excuse me. Just got a little worked up. Deep breath. The group's president said in a post on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, I love how they have to constantly say that the group is removing the names of students from groups that withdrew, but are also adding new names every hour. So do you hear that? So if people changed their statements, if people said, you know what, I didn't mean that because they saw the backlash, they saw their doxing, they saw people yelling and throwing stuff at them, all people who should have been arrested because that would be violent protests, etc. This is not a okay thing to do, okay? This violates a lot of laws. I guess those laws aren't in place anymore because of the Noahide laws, right? I mean, and then you see the gaslighting that the mainstream media is doing on this. This is them revealing themselves as well. This is so important to see because I understand how easy it is to get sucked into the right. I get it. I'm not saying I'm smarter or above anyone else. I get it. Okay, when I decide to let them pull me in, I let them pull me in, I pull myself out. And I see how sane a lot of them act. I see how good of a speaker Tucker Carlson is. I get it. They're good speakers. They're entertaining, okay? I'm not saying these things because I'm like, oh, I'm better than... I'm saying it because I can see the appeal. But once they bring you in, watch all the things that they commonly agree on. Because then they reveal themselves, right? They all originally agreed on the potion. And then as they continued to get backlash, they started to say, well, we don't want it forced on you because they didn't want to lose their entire audience. And then you saw Fox News back away because they knew they would blow this whole operation up. Now, when it comes to this is the important mechanism here. The herding of people into deception, into the political state known as the bagelism agenda. Okay, bagelism. That's the term we'll use, okay? If you don't know what the ism part is, look up the Mount of Zion, okay? Yeah, and connect the dots on what I'm talking about. This is full support for a political movement. It's not a people of the Bible. This is the destruction of humanity. These are the same people who have done everything they can to create a wall that is unpenetrable from speech, from any criticism at all about them. Yet nobody's suspicious about it except people with eyes to see and ears to hear. So this is the kind of like, you hear these stories, you hear about something on a college campus, right? How many times have you heard about protests on college campus? Usually these are always pro-lib, right? They're always a lib agenda, right? You're going to hear stories like this now because there's a lot of youth out there that don't want war one way or the other, right? So they need to justify this. They need to justify it because they need to be the victims as well to justify what they're about to do, right? Which I've talked about many, many times in previous videos. So you're going to see actual students like we saw in the hippie movement, etc., who don't understand what's going on, but are going to refuse retaliation. They're going to say there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way. Hence, you hear a lot of the talking heads who are saying there is no other way. There is no other way. It has to be done this way. And that's what the plan has been from the get-go. Now they need to convince everybody that they should be allowed to do it. So anybody on a college campus who used to protest war, you would be positively put in a positive display, right? A positive light. So a lot of these kids who have been programmed with this weakening programming of weakening down people, violence, all this stuff, not that I promote any of that, but a person should be able to stand their ground against this system. A person should be able to stand their ground on their speech and their opinions on things, right? They won't allow that. But they always promote these types of things because usually on a college campus, it's like, oh, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice, right? And they glorify it. Oh, women's right. Oh, they glorify it. Glorify it on college campuses. So the fact that these kids are not understanding on a college campus because they just want peace, you know, and you would say, oh, okay, well, that's fine. That's the take. They want to have peace. They don't want you to think that because the narrative 100% has to be there is no peace. It has to end with the annihilation of these people and with us taking that land. That's all that it's about. So they're threatening people through stories like this because kids on other campuses are going to hear this story. They've used Harvard for a reason. Whether this story is actually real or not doesn't matter. It's the messaging that comes out. It does matter to the people who went to this school and might have protested because their docs is out there, which means that violence could incur on these people because of psychopaths who do these types of things. But this is the lib behavior. This is exact lib behavior. But what we need to keep our mind on here is how this spreads now, like a hive mind. All these other kids on other campuses are going to hear this episode. It's going to cause massive conflict at colleges. It's going to cause massive conflicts in streets, like I said in a previous video about Friday the 13th, and I'll cover that again on the day, and we'll see what events occur. This right here is a preventative measure that's put in place that says, look, because people out there are like, oh, I'm going to go protest. I don't care if I go to jail, things like that. But when you start talking about doxing and you start talking about your face being plastered and you start thinking about yourself being on an episode of true crime or some type of thing where your life is totally in danger, not jail, danger. Because we've seen crazy activists who are willing to go to jail and get arrested for throwing paint at museums because of climate, sit in front of traffic, hug trees. We've seen all that. Okay? This is a different level of gang stalk. This is gang stalk. This is basic gang stalk, but this is a different level of retaliation. So they're telling you without saying it, because they're pretty much saying, well, you know, the people who did this, they better go back on their word. If they went back on their word, they're perfectly fine. Take them off the list. Don't dox them anymore. But if you don't go back on your word, dox them. Expose them. Let the whole world see them so people throw rocks through their windows. Oh, we only care about violence when it serves us, but the other times we don't care about violence, right? We're against violence because we're afraid that people are going to come after us. But when other people out, you know, it's unbelievable. I mean, this is right. This is the old motto that they've been using over the last couple of years: rules for thee, not for me. Right. So we're seeing this absolutely on steroids right now. And again, this will spread down their university. So kids will be afraid to speak their minds about this stuff. And that's what they want. They want everyone afraid to speak out. They want everybody just shut down. Okay. Every channel on YouTube that talks about it, you're going to see shut down. You'll see this one down eventually, just like the others. Okay, but I'll still continue to do this so that the youth out there understand, so that even the older people, I understand if your age doesn't really matter, right? Because we've all been indoctrinated with lies. So coming out of these lies is what's so important. And these lies are just everywhere. And it's the same people who are spreading them. So again, it's so important for all of us to look at the people who are now revealing themselves as well. And I'll probably do a separate video so we can see a compilation. But it's all the people that we've all talked about. And that's my point going back to Tucker and all these people. And I don't know what he said directly, but let's use Ben Shapiro as an example, right? People like me have always called him a show because we knew what he was, right? Daily Wire, etc. Not really talented, dweeby. I mean, just always pumping one place, right? He's always pushed this place. And now he's garnering support. He's got a whole loyal following behind him of people who love his content because he talks about the gender stuff and actually talks about things that are sane topics, right? So people start watching and they're like, yeah, this guy's right. He's making sense. Okay, now he's hurting people with this mechanism. This is what they are using the alt-right media for. 100% sympathizers of the beast. 100%. So now the audiences of them who should be or trying to wake up are going down the wrong lane. Okay? They're misleading you, taking you down the wrong street. Okay? You're at a pitchfork in the road, a pitch in the road, whatever they call it. One side is a dead end, okay? And the other side is a cliff. And these people are going down both those roads. They're not stopping their car. They're not backing up, going in reverse to change directions. They're going off the cliff. And that's what the alt-right media is doing. They're driving them off a cliff because they're garnering support for the synagogue of Satan itself. And that has been done by design. And you see the Megyn Kelly, I think her name is. Sometimes I call her Megan Fox. Megyn Kelly, which you should know because it was on Fox News. It was on NBC. It was on all the mainstream things, right? But they pretend like they broke free from this matrix. That was done by design. I made that really clear. Russell Brand, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. We broke free. We're not in the system anymore. Look, we're out of it. How about the guy Cuomo? They broke him from CNN. Right now, we're seeing why with a lot of them because they're all tied up on the same narrative and all are supporting. And they think that this means, if you saw someone down the street who had long sideburns, you would hurt them. That's not what anybody is saying. We're talking about the military compound over there. Okay, the military machine over there. Okay, they just turned their backs on their own citizens. Not that we believe what those people believe, but they just turned their back on their own people in the name of Satan, in the name of doing what they're doing now. They're the ones responsible for the demise of their own people. And some people over there know that. There are some people out there that are trying to speak out against them. But they'll be silenced too. They'll be silenced too. So here's the new reality that we're going to live in going forward, right? Remember we talked about the outbreak, the new reality. They kept telling us, it's a new world. It's never going to be the same. They're telling us now, if you saw the video I put up on the website with that event on the 11th day of September where they keep saying it, they're also saying that the world will never be the same again. And it won't be because this right here, this story right here is the mindset of the future going forward. No one's going to ask questions saying, why can't we? What's the problem? Because what's the problem? Because what's the narrative so extremely? People are being beheaded. This, that. All because of this is what we believe, right? And it ties in with the zombie mind who's like, but I feel the same. I can relate to that because I dye my hair blue and people look at me the wrong way like I'm a freak. Oh my goodness, or whatever they might believe because they're narcissistic. Okay? They are garnering, supporting themselves, and you won't be able to question this machine. Everything is moving forward right now, and a great mass awakening needs to occur to stop it. Or, of course, the other alternative, which is really the only alternative, the return of our king, because this is all prophecy. But I'm talking about waking people up because we don't know the day or the hour. There could be a mass awakening. This could stop now, and 100 years from now, it could start all over again because they've attempted to do this throughout history, and it's been stopped. So I have a belief that we could potentially stop it, but I know ultimately that God will stop it. So don't think of stop it. But I'm also not saying that we should sit here and bend over for him either. Okay? People need to become aware, need themselves prepared. They need food supplies. They need other things that you can't say on YouTube that they should have in their home. Because these people that doesn't go along with them and their loss. It's going to be frightening. Stay tuned. Hope to see you on the website, uprisingrevival.com. And again, if you didn't sub to my backup channel, please do so now. I need help building that out. These videos they'll be removed after 7 days, but let's be real. I mean, there's a good chance as soon as they get wind of it, these will all be gone. So keep subbing to the channels. I'll keep producing content for everybody out there. But the best way to get the best content where you can see everything on the screen and I can show you clips and compilations is on the website, uprisingrevival.com. So please consider joining if you haven't yet. Thank you to everybody who's here. God bless all of you as always and your families.